Baldur's Gate just got its biggest news yet. We also got to talk about how the launch went down and some of the numbers behind that. I'll also give some few tips at the beginning of your playthrough to make it more seamless. And I also have to give a big major warning to a save-breaking bug right now. We got a lot to talk about. What's up, World Stripper? Back in the video, we're checking out all things Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, so first up, let's just jump into some of the Steam stuff, some of the record-breaking stuff that we got going on. But essentially, Baldur's Gate was topping every chart that it was on. At one point, it reached over 450,000 viewers on Twitch to hit the #1 spot. It was also at another point hitting a concurrent of 205,000 players and even more later on, which even that number was beating some of the biggest launches and major releases for this year, like Resident Evil 4 Remake and Jedi Survivor. Hogwarts Legacy did have a bigger player count, but man, this is amazing for a single player game and incredible for an IP that's not as recognized as the Harry Potter one. And it looks like even this morning again, the Steam concurrent player count was over 500,000, or just over 500,000 players, which I do believe beats out yesterday's record, which was around like 460,000. So even for the second day to get more players, as a lot of people were still downloading the game yesterday. Also, if you haven't downloaded the game yet, although I'm sure you have, and you have early access, having early access actually did save me 20 gigabytes to my download. Knocked off about an hour or two for me, so that was pretty good. I ended up only needing to download 80 gigabytes instead of it being 120, which I think realistically it was a 100 gigabyte download and it got decompressed into 120 gigabytes or uncompacted to the 122 gigabytes. But yeah, if you still haven't downloaded and you have early access, you can actually just update your game. You do not need to uninstall. I've had no corruption or any issues so far. Although I will say I ran into one bug and it's more so a visual thing. But on the character creator screen, my beard actually got a highlight. Essentially how you can make highlights in your hair. My beard also got some highlights. Although the color came out, I believe, reversed of what the other color that I used. And I just kind of left it after that point. I didn't remake my save or remake my character. The bug's there. I'm just going to leave it. Maybe eventually that bug gets patched and it will go back to what it was supposed to be. However, for now, I'm just going to leave it. But yeah, fair warning if you are doing like a bunch of highlights with your hair and a bunch of like the grayscale, it can just randomly change your beard color and it won't go back to what it was. But on top of the Steam player count hitting such high numbers, the Steam servers got absolutely slammed, at one point reaching near 150 terabytes per second, which is just unfathomable to think about. That's an insanely high number, and yeah, the peak was absolutely nuts. So the game is definitely incredibly popular. And we do have to talk about that major game-breaking and save-breaking bug, because there actually is a very, very bad breaking bug right now, and it really is like gonna like alter your save forever. Like this will change your save forever. And what do I mean by that? So right now, currently, we have a lot of people reporting this in. Essentially, you cannot remove friend characters from your party. And this also does apply to origin characters as well. So how this bug works is essentially someone joins your game, or your friend joins your game for a moment, or for however long. It can be just a moment, but for however long. And that custom character that they made is now permanently stuck in his party. He can't remove him from his party. He can't take it out. It's permanently stuck in the party. And this can also apply with origin characters that you have stuck in there as well. So if you join your friend's game and you have an origin character that they've possibly not picked up or removed, this will permanently lock that character to your party. Again, this doesn't matter if you start the campaign with your friend or if you join in later. So you might want to disable join from party right now or open party right now, as this can entirely brick your save and you will have that person in your party forever no matter what you do. You also can't talk to them while they're in camp and you can't boot them out. So you're permanently locked, and it's basically bricking your save to permanently lock this player into your party. Whether, again, it's a custom character or an origin character. And again, this can both happen from the start of the campaign and as well just joining in mid-game or mid-campaign, not from the start. So yeah, do be very wary of that. My base recommendation would always be to remove the open party thing right now, or at least disable open party. I also do want to go over a tip which relates to the camp section as well as the difficulty. So currently I am playing on Tactician mode, and I am actually enjoying Tactician mode quite a lot. It was a little bit harder at the start, and I do believe that the karmic system actually was better to have on at the very beginning of the game. I definitely needed it for some of the first phases and things like that. Not going to get into spoiler stuff there, but I definitely did need to have the karmic system enabled, although I do have it disabled now. Additionally with that, if you are playing on Tactician mode, I don't know why they did this change, and I don't think this is a good one, especially for Tactician mode and especially for missing dialogue, but they make it so that the camp resources required to rest is doubled. So it's no longer 40, now it's 80. Now I'm not too sure if you can trigger dialogue scenes and scenarios off of partial rest. I'm sure you probably can, so you don't necessarily need to do this. However, every time I get back to camp, I change my difficulty down from Tactician to Balanced. This makes it so that when I do rest, it only costs me 40 camp supplies. I don't think it's a good change to have it cost 80 camp supplies. It's just way too much, and they don't give you enough of that at the very beginning of the game. I also don't want to miss any dialogue or any scenarios because I'm on Tactician. So yeah, I would just swap the difficulty back and forth when you do rest. I don't think that the 80 camp supplies is necessary. Doesn't make the game more difficult realistically, and it only just kind of makes it so that you miss dialogue scenes or don't get a full rest in. Yeah, not a fan of that there, not a fan of what that does for Tactician mode, so that is my big tip on the difficulty stuff. We also had those dev talks a long time ago about how this can't be the new standard for RPGs, although this really should be the new standard for RPGs. It's incredibly in-depth with its system and all the different text and the visuals and everything with it. The choices you make, everything has consequences, everything is kind of built into this system and this ecosystem. It really does feel alive. Normally, like when you play these RPG games, they might have like 1 or 2 missions that allow you to make these like significant choices. Literally every mission in Baldur's Gate allows you to make significant choices, and I absolutely love that. So I really do hope this does set a new standard for RPGs, especially because they also don't have any in-game purchases and no microtransactions, so it's completely free on that department and not pay to win in any scenario, especially for a single-player game. It really shouldn't be, although I've played plenty of single-player games from big AAA studios that just have some sort of pay-to-win mechanic in there for whatever reason. Even Assassin's Creed had loot boxes at one point. So yeah, they're just kind of ruining games with the MTX stuff. I really do hope that we get a lot of this like MTX side of paying for power and in-game stuff. If they want to do cosmetic things and have in-game cosmetics, whatever. They want to make that a paid-for service, go ahead. But all in all, I do hope this does set a new standard for RPGs going forward. We also do have a few reviews kind of out, but mostly review in progress. It seems like IGN and even PC Gamer for once in a millennium are actually agreeing with each other on the game being very, very good. Which, yeah, that's always very odd to see with IGN and PC Gamer agreeing on the same thing there. Normally, their reviews are wildly different. IGN is always giving out 9s and 10s. Whereas I've always noticed that PC Gamer sometimes gets it right, where they're definitely on point with things. Other times, they just have this wildly drastic opinion, which I think they got with Dead Island 2. Dead Island 2 was a pretty good game, and PC Gamer rated it very poorly. So yeah, I didn't agree there, but most of the time they do get it right in that scenario. But once everything comes out and all the reviews are out, I will update you on some of those review scores. This is a very, very, very large game, and so there's going to be a lot of work in progress reviews for quite a while. But yeah, it's definitely getting the praise it deserves. That should about cover for today's video. If you like and subscribe, and until the next, deuces.